How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Warful Relics, and welcome to a brand new video, guys. Today we have a lot of things to go through, a lot of information. As you can see on my page here, we have a lot of things to talk about, but don't get like all crazy right away. Just wait, watch the video so understand what's going on. So get back in your seats, get ready, and let's talk about this, guys. So the Pokemon Switch version has some extra info about it that's been coming out, and there's this page on the screen right here you guys can see, but this is nothing crazy, right? This right here is the kind of the Netherlands version of GameStop and Game and like EB Games from Australia. It's like their version of that. So if you don't know what GameStop is, it's a, it's a gaming shop or a shop where you buy games, and if you don't know Game, it's the same thing, and EB Games is like the Australian version of that. But basically, their websites that say, or they're rather stores that sell these games, like all games, every single game is being sold there. And Game Mania is like the Netherlands or the Dutch version of that. It's like the Dutch version, the Netherlands version of GameStop and Game and, EB Games. It's the exact same thing going on right here. Now, why is this important? Right, because these pages do this all the time. But why is this specific page important with their already existing, like, placeholder for the Pokemon Switch game, saying it's going to be released in 2018 over there, as you can see, in that corner, like, up there in the, in the top says, Verwacht, 2018. Well, it's important because there's been another thing that's been happening currently in terms of the Netherlands, in terms of, like, the Nintendo Switch Pokemon, or rather the Pokemon Switch game, or the RPG for the Nintendo Switch. There's been other news from the Netherlands that kind of connect to this in a weird way. So I'm going to get to those in a second, but I want to point out, again, this is a placeholder, right? I don't even think you can buy this yet. You can't press that, but you can press, like, to pre-order for the store or whatever, or, like, I'm not sure what that means even. If you can translate that for me, guys, it'd be very much appreciated, but I guess you can't really pre-order directly through the store, or like, through the web page and whatnot. But I guess you can put an order on it, so when it actually is announced, you can actually get it. But either way, besides the point, keep in mind, this is a page from the Netherlands. It's a Dutch page, right? That's going to be important to the thing we're going to jump over to in a second, which is this page right here, or rather, it's Reddit, but it's this post right here from Mantier183 on Reddit, and this is very important, right? We have to pay attention to what he says right here. So let's get started. Now, this post is called Nintendo Happiness Survey mentioning Pokemon RPG within 12 months. Question mark. So, I was just filling out a survey Nintendo sent me about my happiness with the Switch, and he asked me about the likeliness of me buying the listed games within 12 months. And there it was, the Pokemon RPG for Nintendo Switch, untitled. Does this mean the RPG can be expected this year? Or is it Nintendo just not being very precise with their wording? I don't know how to add a screenshot of the survey, sorry. And then he edited and said, okay, I'll try to include the screenshots. Hopefully I'm doing this right. And he did include the screenshots. Now, we don't even need his screenshots, but I still have them here. I have both his screenshots here. But we don't even need his screenshots to know that this is a real post. This is actually real. This is not fake. This is real, okay? These surveys are real. You can see right here, this is the email he got, which is like, they say like, best Nintendo fan. Like you can see, right, it's kind of hard to see with my face cam over here, but I'll put up in the top. They basically say, like, best Nintendo fan, we've, we want you to answer a few questions. If you could, answer the enquete here or survey, be very much appreciated. And that's basically the thing, right? That's what they got. Now, what's included here is this at the bottom. Now, you can't see it again, but I'm going to move again to show you. This is what's included down there. The Pokemon RPG for the Nintendo Switch ungetitelt, which I assume is untitled. Now, what's important about this list, when you look through it, right, you have so many games are already out, and games that aren't out yet, like Mario Tennis, Bayonetta 1 and 2, and Bayonetta 1 and 2 are out, but Bayonetta 3 are not included on, like, they're not released games. Like, these three right here, like Mario Tennis, Bayonetta 3, and RPG Pokemon game are not released yet. And you may ask, like, oh, but if this is a list, where's Smash? Well, the reason Smash is not on this list, which is so obvious to me, which I don't understand why people would, be questioning that, is because the game wasn't announced yet. They were waiting to do a giant announcement for it. Everybody already knows there's an RPG Pokemon game that's supposed to be released, and we already know kind of that's supposed to be released this year, and I'm going to get into that more later on, but it's right there. Now, why is this important? Right, because the actual survey is asking, would you buy any of these games in the coming 12 months? This post was made in January, guys. This was made in January. Now, it may say 1 month here, but, I mean, that's just because I don't know how they count that. But this was made, this, like, survey went out back in the middle of January. So they're talking about the whole year, right? Are you likely to buy any of these games this year, in the next 12 months, aka this year, in 2018? Are you likely to buy any of these? That's what they were asking. So, in all honesty, like, I could expect maybe, the worst case scenario, what I'm expecting is that they would maybe delay it because of the big hype behind, Smash. Maybe that would be a reason to delay it. But it's very unlikely because Nintendo would want to go full out this year. That's the only reason I think they would maybe delay it, but it's very unlikely they would do that because they've been pressuring actually Game Freak. Nintendo has been pressuring Game Freak into working on a new Pokemon game. Now, we have these like actual pages here. You can read through some of the information about the actual survey. This is one of the many pages I posted about. This was 2 months ago. See right there? You have also this one, which was also posted like in January 15th, right there, as you can see. Essentially in the middle of January, and here it is. Felipe Lima also said, yeah, they are. So you can see right there, there is the exact same survey. See, same thing going on. And once again, Pokemon right at the bottom right there. See it down there. Pokemon again in the corner. And same thing goes for this page, right? Contra Network, Nintendo of Europe survey mentioning Pokemon RPG for Nintendo Switch within 12 months. Source Reddit. Yes, indeed. Boom. There you go. There it is. It's a real survey. It isn't bullshit. Now, why is this important towards this page right here? Well, because both these posts are from the Netherlands, right? If you read this text right here, right, you'll see that it isn't in like the yes and no's and likely, unlikely, all that stuff. It isn't in English. It's all in Dutch. And that's the thing, because this was made for Europe. This survey was for European people, but this specific one was for Dutch people. Now, why is this important? Because here's the thing. The reason why people keep thinking that it's not going to happen this year is because, oh, they didn't have enough time to work on it. Well, here's the thing, guys. They've been working on the Nintendo Switch game, Pokemon Switch game, sorry. They've been working on that for 2.5 years. Not for a year, for 2.5 years, like they have. And I'm going to explain why. After Sun and Moon were completed, it was known within the company, and it was known to, the public somewhat, that the veterans who were working on Sun and Moon, once they were done with Sun and Moon, the veterans split off and started working on a different project. While the newcomers, the people who, worked for a company that were kind of newer, they took over the work with Ultra Sun and Moon, and they worked on that part of things. They worked on specifically Ultra Sun and Moon. While the veterans were working on what? Well, they were working on the freaking Switch game, right? That makes sense. That's what they obviously be working on. I wouldn't be working on something off that isn't, like, related to anything. They'd be working on a Switch game. Why? Because Game Freak is connected to Nintendo. They have always put their games, like, Game Freak has always put their games on Nintendo consoles at all times. So they have a direct connection, and Nintendo puts pressure on the Pokemon company, or rather the Game Freak company, specifically to get a new game out because they want to sell as many Nintendo consoles as possible and sell as many first-party titles as possible. Pokemon is partially owned by Nintendo, so they're able to do that sort of stuff, which is why I want to mention all this. So, again, my point here that I'm trying to get across is, guys, it's that this is going to happen. Because think about it. When they announced the Pokemon Switch game at E3 last year in June, okay, 13th of June, I think, is when it happened, when it was announced. Think about that. Do the math right now. June this year is going to be a year since that announcement. And by the time, like, November, December, October roll around, that's like 4 to 6 months, from counting from June. So that's almost a year and a half since the announcement. And what did they say in the announcement specifically? They said, oh, you should expect this game within a year, like, don't expect this game for more, like, for a year or more, like, year or more, right? For more than a year, like, something like that. Well, guess what? In June, it's going to be 1 year. And guess how much it's going to be by November, December? Well, it's going to be more than a year, because that's a year and a half at that point. You know what I mean? It's 1 year and like 5 to 6 months, almost. So, obviously, they've had a lot of time to work on the game. It's not something, and I don't understand people who are like, oh, I don't want them to rush a game. They're not rushing it. Guys, they're not rushing it. They've been working on it for a longer time. That's why the veterans split off to work on a sideline thing, or like, well, aka the Switch game, while the younglings, the newcomers, were working on Ultra Sun and Moon, which is why Ultra Sun and Moon didn't have so many, like, crazy things in it. It was just a few additions, and kind of just, like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know what I mean? Just a few little extra additions, a little bit of changes and stuff. But it wasn't anything crazy or, like super different or whatever. It was still pretty grounded, in a sense. It was still pretty grounded. And that's the point, guys. They've been working on a Switch game. And I'm assuming, with this survey right here, because Bayonetta 3 is most likely going to be coming out this year. Mario Tennis Aces, we already know is coming out this year. And we already know that Smash is coming out this year. So this is literally Nintendo trying to capitalize on that giant-ass market right now to sell as many consoles. Because their goal is to sell 20 million consoles in total. They've sold like 11, 13 million, something like 13.5 million. That's a lot of consoles. But they want to sell 20 million. And how do you sell that? Well, you get the biggest franchise you have to literally release a game. And which is the biggest franchise that like Nintendo has control over? Well, it's Pokemon. For those who do not know, Pokemon has made the most money compared to any other franchise. It is the biggest grossing like franchise of all time. So if you don't believe me, look into it. Do some Google searches. You'll see that Pokemon is the biggest franchise out there. It's bigger than Star Wars. It's bigger than Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars makes a ton of money, but Pokemon makes more because of the TCG, the cartoons, the anime, or the movies rather, and that sort of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? And also all the toys, all the merchandise, all the shirts, all the clothing, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things. And obviously, they'd want to release a game that would incentivize people who still own a 3DS and a 2DS and whatnot to also go and buy a Switch now. Because, hey, guess what? The next Pokemon RPG is on the Switch. Buy it. I am not buying a Switch until I know that, like, I'm going to have a Pokemon game coming out. I'm not buying it until then. So that's why I'm mentioning all this, guys. That's why this is very, very, very important. So that's also why I'm trying to bring it up, guys. This is most likely going to happen. I think we're seeing it in 2018. If you don't agree with me, give me your opinions and your reasons to why. Because, again, they've been developing this for longer than a year. And even if, okay, so even if they started developing it back in June, it will still be more than a year by the time November rolls around. Like, you still gotta remember, guys, even when November rolls around, it's still gonna be more than a year of development if that's when they started it. But clearly they wouldn't have started the same day they announced it. They've been working on it for almost like 2.5 years at this point. Either way, that's going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your opinions down in the description down below, or comments down below, sorry. Just kind of messed up there. I'm all over the place right now. I'm just thinking so much, and I'm trying to figure out everything. So, let me know in the comments down below, guys. What do you all think about this? Do you think, if you still think it's 2019, by the way, if they're doing 2019, they'll have to wait all the way till the end of 2019, because they won't be releasing it in the middle of 2019 or like the start of 2019, because they've not done that since like Fire Red Leaf Green or whatever. They haven't done it like since then, and they wouldn't do it now because it's stupid. You don't make money that way. You actually lose money as a company. They want to make money. Nintendo wants to make money, not lose money. We all know how much they love money. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all the next time. Have a great day, and bye-bye.